A startling viral story about reality TV stars Mendeecees and Erica has once again shocked the entertainment industry. Although there have been rumors for days, they have now reached a completely new level. According to insiders, things escalated to a breaking point after Erica revealed some extremely private and damaging information regarding Mendeecees. What began as a verbal sparring match swiftly descended into chaos as emotions ran high and tempers flared. Rumors of a Mendeecees attack attempt on Erica are circulating on social media, leaving supporters stunned and split. Everyone is curious about what actually transpired behind closed doors. Did Mendeecees actually lose control? Or is this simply another exaggerated, theatrical story? Watch closely as we delve into this gripping tale, exposing every turn that has ignited the internet and left the reality TV community in complete shock. Fans never anticipated the escalation of hostility between Erica and Mendeecees. Things swiftly descended into mayhem after Erica made a shocking disclosure about Mendeecees that shocked their reality show community. In addition to shocking the audience, the shocking disclosure sparked a heated argument between the two celebrities behind the scenes. According to people familiar with the matter, Erica revealed some extremely private and upsetting information about Mendeecees that severely affected him both publicly and emotionally. Although the specifics of these disclosures are yet unknown, insiders allude to treachery, a breach of trust, and tumultuous times that permanently altered the trajectory of their relationship. Fans started speculating and picking sides, which sparked a social media frenzy. There was a lot of tension in the air the night after Erica's statement went viral. According to witnesses, Eric and Mendeecees got into a furious argument while attending a get-together of their common acquaintances at a private place. Voices were raised, tempers rose immediately, and what began as verbal accusations quickly turned into a physical altercation. Several visitors claimed that Mendeecees tried to strike Erica in a fit of wrath after becoming enraged and feeling betrayed. Word of the tragedy traveled quickly, leaving the family divided. Friends attempted to step in, but the situation almost went out of hand because the emotional stakes were too high. Fans are astonished and perplexed by this unexpected change of events. Many people are wondering how two individuals who used to share so much could get into such a poisonous argument. Online, the incident has generated a lot of discussion, with some people supporting Erica for speaking her mind and others pitying Mendeecees for his emotional outburst. What might have caused Mendeecees to lose control is a topic of much conjecture in the reality TV community. Some claim that the strain of upholding a public persona while concealing personal hardships got to be too much. Others think that Erica's disclosures touched on a more emotional subject than anyone anticipated. Yandy Smith-Harris, a longtime Shimin Bawana close buddy of Mendeecees, was caught in the center of the maelstrom among the turmoil. Her vehement defense of Mendeecees on social media, where she criticized Erica for stirring up controversy and accused her of making up stories to gain attention, caught the attention of her fans right away. These women's simmering emotions now posed a threat of escalating into a full-fledged conflict. As followers watched each post, comment, and answer in anticipation of the next move, tensions were high. According to several sources, Yandy's involvement made matters more complicated by introducing layers of jealousy, unresolved tension, and familial devotion. Concerns about the confrontation's potential long-term effects have also been raised by friends and family members. According to reliable sources, Mendeecees has been battling personal issues for a while, and her public character only made matters worse. According to reports, the family is making an effort to remain together, but it is being difficult due to pressure and public scrutiny. Erica, meantime, is reportedly unwilling to back down in the face of criticism. Fans are left wondering whether this is just another dramatic chapter in their reality TV story or the beginning of the end for their complex relationship. New details keep coming to light as the tale progresses. According to several insiders, there were covert discussions and tensions well before the shocking disclosure. The couple's pals allude to late-night fights, private meetings, and a widening gap that hasn't been discussed in public until now. The attack and the revelation are only one aspect of the story. There are other, more profound problems that have been simmering for months. The relationship appears to have been unstable long before this public altercation. The response from fans, who have been outspoken about their disgust and incredulity, is what makes this story even more captivating. Many claim they had hoped for healing and reconciliation, but instead witnessed one of the most traumatic and dramatic events in the couple's history up close. Fan theories, impassioned responses, and requests for peace between the parties are all over social media platforms. The once close-knit group of friends is now broken as everyone attempts to deal with the aftermath, and the family was left split. Furthermore, there are rumors circulating regarding possible legal action in the wake of the claimed attack. According to some reports, Erika is thinking about filing charges, while other reports claim that both parties are attempting to prevent the issue from getting worse. Both fans and legal professionals make assumptions about the potential effects this could have on their careers and public personas. Knowing that whatever occurs next might completely change their destiny, the whole entertainment industry is keeping a tight eye on everything. Throughout all of this, many people have commended Erika for her bravery in speaking up. Her choice to come clean in spite of the dangers has brought her new admirers who respect her courage and integrity. The story has become more difficult as a result of Mendeecees' battle to keep his reputation intact and control his emotions. One of the most talked about storylines in recent reality TV history, this continuous conflict between one's own truth and public image has drawn admirers from all around the world. Nobody knows what will happen next as tensions rise and emotions run amok. As the plot progresses, more disclosures, conflicts, and dramatic turns are anticipated. Fans, the media, and industry insiders closely monitor both Erika and Mendeecees, analyzing every action they take. As this sensational story develops, the family was left split, and the viewers are left wanting answers. Can there be any hope for peace now that new people and secret agendas are coming to light? Or is this just the start of a very public downfall? The primary characters are not the only members of the wider family and friend group who have been impacted by the drama. People close to Erika have praised her bravery and denounced the alleged attack, demonstrating their undying support. Mendeecees' defenders, meanwhile, stress that everyone makes errors and urge empathy and understanding. A divided fan base has resulted from these disagreements, with each side more committed than ever to defending their beloved. Social media has become a battlefield where loyalty and truth are hotly debated due to the genuine and unfiltered emotional struggle. Amidst all of this, people have started talking about Erika's emotional state. She has been The alleged attack's aftermath has also spurred discussions about the difficulties of keeping private relationships in the public eye and the demands of celebrity. Commentators and experts offer their opinions on how reality TV stars deal with these challenging situations and the toll it has on their mental health. By showing the human side behind the headlines and reminding viewers that there is more at risk than just entertainment, this wider conversation has given the narrative a fresh viewpoint. To sum up, the first part of this developing drama lays the groundwork for a story that is full of emotional turmoil, treachery, and intense public scrutiny. In addition to having an impact on their personal lives, the conflict between Erika and Mendeecees has captured the interest of both fans and the media. More twists and revelations are anticipated as the plot progresses to keep viewers interested. Watch this space for part 2, where we will delve more into the confrontation's aftermath and examine the reactions of friends, family, and fans to this startling development. The truth is yet to be revealed, and the drama is far from over. Silence hung in the air the morning following the explosive encounter. Behind closed doors, the aftermath was already ripping individuals apart, but no one in the family had publicly addressed the chaos that had occurred just hours earlier. Insiders claim that Mendeecees had isolated themselves and stopped talking to anyone, including Yandy. According to reports, he was having difficulty processing everything that had transpired. Erika, however, was clearly shaken but kept calm. She was lodging with a close friend and was surrounded by individuals who protected and supported her emotionally. People who witnessed the incident called it heartbreaking, particularly given how rapidly things got out of hand. It was the kind of harm that permanently alters relationships, not simply emotional harm. In the meantime, Yandy was exerting every effort to steer the story. According to sources, she was attempting to improve Mendeecees' public image behind the scenes by slanting the narrative in their favor by contacting producers, media insiders, and even common acquaintances. She thought that Erika's actions were premeditated and meant to damage Mendeecees' reputation. However, not everyone was persuaded. Some people in Yandy's tight circle started to doubt if they truly understood the whole truth. Rumors began to circulate that Yandy may have disregarded warning signs to keep things under control for the cameras, and that she had known about the tension between Erica and Mendeecees long before it erupted. Another level of intricacy was introduced by this uncertainty. Fans started rewatching previous episodes, scrutinizing old footage, and pointing out minor clues, such as when Erica appeared uneasy, when Mendeecees was unusually quiet, or when Yandy appeared unduly domineering. Viewers pieced together what actually transpired the night of the confrontation. Each frame served as evidence in a public investigation. While some started calling for accountability from all those involved, the hashtag #JusticeForErica started to gain popularity. The world of reality television was collapsing, and the fallout was affecting everyone. Speculation grew as Erica finally spoke up on Instagram with the ambiguous yet impactful statement, "You can't heal in the same environment that broke you." Fans and celebrities alike left encouraging comments and hundreds of thousands of likes on her post. Her strength was commended, and she was urged to continue expressing her truth. In order to pressure the network to permanently remove Mendeecees from the show, several fans even launched internet campaigns. Others countered that everyone should have an opportunity to present their case, and Mendeecees' quiet demonstrated that he was attempting to contemplate rather than conceal. The network was in a challenging situation. According to reports, executives were in crisis mode and convening urgent meetings to determine the best course of action. Hours of video from the event's aftermath were available, and they were discussing whether or not to show any of it. Although controversy frequently increases viewership, this instance was unique. Serious accusations were involved, and a poor choice may result in significant public outrage or perhaps legal issues. Producers disagreed. Some thought the show should confront it directly, while others were concerned that it would harm their image beyond repair. Erica was conferring with her legal team behind the scenes. She had not yet reported the incident to the police, according to individuals close to her, but she was considering her options. She wanted to be sure that the actions she took next would both protect her and convey a statement. Video evidence, witness testimony, and any text that would bolster her claims were being gathered by her lawyers. In the event that she chose to proceed legally, they were assembling a compelling case. Mendeecees, on the other hand, had employed a crisis manager and were counseled against public speaking until they had a more defined plan. Friends and family found themselves picking sides as the pressure increased. Some friends who attempted to maintain their objectivity were drawn into the conflict and made to choose between standing behind Mendeecees and supporting Erica. The most difficult aspect, according to a long-standing acquaintance of both, was realizing how severely the circumstance had split the group as a whole. They compared it to witnessing a family disintegrate gradually. The betrayal was deeply felt, and the emotions were unfiltered. No amount of public declarations could mend the division that had been caused within the family. Even others who weren't directly participating began to feel the effects. Other industry leaders, influencers, and reality stars started to voice their thoughts and occasionally even brought up personal problems. A broader discussion about power dynamics in relationships, the demands of public life, and the perils of ignoring warning signs for the sake of fame was symbolized by the drama. With the addition of panel shows, gossip blogs, and YouTube pundits, the situation became a full-fledged media circus. Mendeecees finally moved as the commotion increased in volume. "There's always more to the story," he captioned a black square he shared on Instagram without saying a word. The comments area blew up. Some perceived it as an attempt to avoid accountability, while others saw it as a covert denial. In any case, it did nothing but fuel the flames. While his supporters asked people to wait for the whole truth, others accused Eric of playing the victim. With each hour that went by, the gap widened and the discourse heated up. Yandy was getting ready to go live during all of this. She wanted to speak directly to her fans and make her involvement obvious. However, many who knew her well cautioned against it, stating that anything she said might be used against her in the future. She struggled to balance her allegiance to Mendeecees with the mounting demands that she justify herself. According to insiders, she was meticulously practicing her response because she wanted to justify her actions without escalating the conflict. Erica, meantime, was remaining silent and refusing to reply to either the black square or Yandy's planned live session. Suddenly, a voicemail that had been leaked came to light. It purportedly showed a heated phone conversation between Mendeecees and another unidentified cast member just days prior to the altercation. Mendeecees sounded irate and suspicious in the recording, saying they were worried that Erica was planning something big. He claimed that he felt duped and that he couldn't trust anyone. Whether the voicemail was authentic or not, it went viral very fast. Every syllable was broken down by admirers, who tried to identify the person on the other end by examining the tone and background noise. A whole new level of intrigue and mistrust was introduced by the leak. Everyone was forced to pause by this new puzzle piece. Was Mendeecees acting in response to a trap he sensed coming, or was he actually the aggressor? Was Erica sincerely attempting to escape a poisonous relationship, or had she really intended to expose him for her personal benefit? Nothing was obvious anymore. Once straightforward and emotionally charged, the story now seemed to be a tangle of incomplete details and half-truths. There were fans on both sides, and each appeared to be concealing something. Supporters started calling for openness, which forced both sides to come clean. The network made the decision to take charge after becoming embroiled in a whirlwind of rumors and controversy. They issued a statement announcing that they would be pausing the production of future episodes until further notice while they conducted an internal inquiry. The industry was rocked by the announcement. The network had never taken such a severe measure before, and it demonstrated how critical the issue had gotten. Confidentiality agreements were enforced, and cast members were asked not to post about the occurrence. Silence descended on everyone's social media accounts for the first time in a long time. However, in the realm of reality television, stillness is short-lived. Fans were already guessing what might happen next. Is Erica going to file charges? Would Mendeecees embark on a tour of public apologies? Would Yandy ever come clean about her true knowledge? Even those who vowed to stop watching the show were captivated to every update because the drama had escalated to that level. It was more than simply a narrative anymore. It was a spectacle, a scandal, and a representation of the most explosive collisions that can occur between emotion, truth, and celebrity. One thing became evident as the dust settled. Nothing would ever be the same. Everything had altered as a result of the altercation, including Erica and Mendeecees' future, their admirers, and their families. Alliances were dissolved, confidence was betrayed, and the spotlight was now more intense and severe than before. It's unclear what will happen next, but one thing is for sure: the story is far from finished, and the upcoming chapter is expected to be equally dramatic, emotional, and unpredictable as the previous one. Keep an eye out for Chapter 3, which will uncover even more secrets, covert relationships, and the startling fallout from that night that will never be forgotten. The quiet that followed the network's abrupt production halt felt like the quiet before a storm, not just a lull in the action. According to some with knowledge of the situation, there was an unsettling atmosphere, as if everyone was holding their breath, anticipating someone's next move. Both sides were frantically assembling evidence, support, and leverage behind the scenes. According to reports, Erica was collaborating with a well-known documentary filmmaker who has a reputation for exposing corruption in the entertainment sector. There were rumors that she intended to completely skip the network and share her experience in an unvarnished sit-down. She desired for her voice to be heard without any editing or narrative control by producers. Mendeecees was intensifying his silence in the meantime. The leaked voicemail had shaken him. It made him seem paranoid, unstable even, but his team argued that it actually proved he felt threatened, that something deeper was going on. Instead of speaking publicly, he turned to his legal team, crisis advisors, and a few devoted friends who were helping him craft a potential redemption arc. They intended to wait until the chaos subsided a little before releasing a carefully planned interview in which the Mendeecees would discuss the event, admit their suffering, and explain that there were always two sides to each story. In the midst, Yandy was starting to fall apart. She had spent years developing her reputation as a strong, dependable wife and successful entrepreneur, but now it was being attacked. Critics accused her of being complicit, ignoring warning signs that she saw, and worse, helping to conceal them. She was beginning to feel the weight of her guilt. According to close acquaintances, she was not sleeping, was not eating, and had begun to lose her temper with her employees. Fans, family, and producers were all clamoring for answers on her incessantly beeping phone. She remained silent, though, and more people felt she had something to hide the longer she remained silent. The public's response only intensified over the next few days. Fans started tagging the network in thousands of posts, calling for responsibility as part of online demonstrations. In hindsight, several of the altered collections of previous show moments that were released seemed unsettling. Others launched a campaign to give Erica her own spin-off, claiming she should have a stage free from tragedy and manipulation. Mendeecees had a small but vociferous following that insisted he had been set up and was being judged in the court of public opinion without a fair trial. With incessant arguing, threats, and online harassment taking over fan forums and comment sections, the gap between the two sides grew poisonous. Then followed the unexpected turn of events. One of the show's producers, who had been quiet during the whole situation, made the decision to make an anonymous podcast statement. Their name was omitted and their voice was altered, but what they said rocked the internet. They asserted that the conflict between Erica and the Mendeecees had been intensifying for months, and that crew members had even alerted producers about the growing animosity. Furthermore, the whistleblower said that one of the producers had pushed for a conflict in order to increase viewership. The voice stated, "They knew something was coming, but they didn't expect it to go that far." This insight altered everything. Now, it was about the entire production being involved in what transpired, not just Erica or Mendeecees. While legal professionals started debating whether the network could be held accountable, fans sought an independent probe. The strain on all parties involved increased tenfold when the topic of discussion changed from personal drama to systemic failure. In an attempt to defend itself, the network released a second statement promising transparency and denying any wrongdoing, but the damage had already been done. The public was not prepared to forgive so readily, and trust had been lost. Seizing the opportunity, Erica continued her unvarnished interview. She sat opposite the interviewer and told the truth while being videotaped in a calm environment with subdued lighting and no ostentatious graphics. Even though the video was released late at night, it received over 2 million views in a matter of hours. She described months of feeling like no one believed her until it was too late, being subtly threatened and being emotionally manipulated. She acknowledged that she had kept quiet out of fear of losing everything, including her safety, her platform, and her dignity. However, she came to the realization that quiet was no longer protecting her after what transpired that evening. The interview was heartfelt and unvarnished. She sobbed as she talked about how she felt betrayed by those she had previously considered family. She addressed the other women in attendance directly, telling them to follow their gut feelings and never put up with abuse, even when it is disguised by false smiles and promises. Although she mostly avoided naming Mendeecees by name, the inference was obvious. In addition, she brought up the producer leak and acknowledged that she had been encouraged to address intimate matters on camera. She referred to it as entertainment, camouflaged as exploitation. The interview received an overwhelming amount of response. Fans flooded social media with supportive messages, celebrities shared footage, and the story was picked up by major media sources. For the first time, Erica was viewed as a survivor and a woman taking back her story, rather than merely a reality star enmeshed in controversy. Even many who had before questioned her started to reconsider. Talk programs discussed if her interview will alter the future of reality television production during the days she was trending. It became into a cultural moment rather than merely a controversy. Mendeecees was furious as he observed all of this from a distance. According to insiders, he felt blindsided and that Erica's interview omitted important details and presented a biased image, but his team told him to keep quiet for the time being. They planned a separate interview that would reveal a more sensitive and introspective side of the Mendeecees. They thought that if he played it right, the public was still willing to hear his side of the story. But in private, he was angry. Some claim that after viewing the first 10 minutes of the interview, he hit a wall. He flung his phone across the room, according to others. He was upset about losing control of the story, not only over Erica. Chuck the Mambo. Network had to decide what to do with the show while the two sides fought it out in interviews and online comments. They declared that the upcoming season would be delayed indefinitely following days of negotiations behind closed doors. They pledged to take the accusations seriously going forward, improve mental health resources, and restructure the production process. Yet, the majority of fans didn't buy it. The devastation was too great already. People were disgusted, not just disappointed. In a brief video statement, Yuandi finally broke her silence. Her voice was wobbly, and her eyes were fatigued as she sat on her couch and explained that she had been trying to take it all in before speaking. She acknowledged that she hadn't handled things flawlessly and that she wished she had taken more action to stop things from getting out of hand. However, she refrained from accepting complete responsibility. She implied that there were details of the tale that others were unaware of, and she continued to speak to Mendeecees as someone I deeply care about. Reactions to the video were divided. Some praised her vulnerability, while others criticized her for being evasive and self-serving. The focus on reality TV became more intense as all of this transpired. Former cast members from other shows started to share their own stories, including being hushed when they attempted to speak up, being manipulated, and feeling pressured to perform trauma. It seemed as though a dam had burst and that Erica's story had let the floods in. What had begun as a single altercation had now become a far more extensive discussion. And the truth was out, regardless of how the network attempted to go on. The days of ignoring the situation were past, and people were paying closer attention than before. However, the story was not yet complete, because one voice remained unheard, even though the interviews had changed public opinion. One individual, who had kept quiet the entire time, meticulously planning his comeback. Insiders claim that Mendeecees was getting ready for his own disclosure, which would be his most emotional, contentious, and revealing moment to yet. Nobody was certain of what he would say, how he would say it, or the effect it would have. However, there was little doubt that the drama was far from ended and that everything may alter again in the upcoming chapter. When Mendeecees' eagerly anticipated interview day finally arrived, the internet seemed to come to a standstill. People were inquisitive, doubtful, and in some situations incensed that he was even being given a platform. The interview was recorded in a modern studio with a subdued, even solemn tone and melancholy lighting. He sat opposite the host in a well-practiced stance, collected and calm, but with a hint of discomfort behind his gaze. It was obvious right away that he wouldn't deny anything. Rather, he adopted a more nuanced strategy. He expressed regret for the way things turned out and acknowledged that everyone had been impacted in ways that the general public would never comprehend. He called his connection with Erica complicated, describing times when it was difficult to distinguish between tension, loyalty, and friendship. He asserted that it was difficult to distinguish between performance and reality because of pressure from producers to turn things up for the cameras. He acknowledged that he had become heated and that he had raised his voice, but he refrained from acknowledging any physical violence. He said that the situation was overblown and that he had been portrayed as a monster to increase viewership and provoke indignation. The host posed challenging questions, and the Mendeecees occasionally seemed uneasy. He hesitated for a few seconds. Before responding, "I said things out of anger," when asked specifically if he had ever threatened Erica off camera. "I don't take pride in it. However, I never intended to harm her." His remarks were measured, practiced, and slightly vulnerable to elicit pity from certain onlookers. He continued by saying that everyone had been altered by celebrity and that the show had produced a poisonous atmosphere where suffering was equated with profit, and there was no such thing as privacy. He maintained that he was making an effort to be a better guy for himself and his family, not only for the cameras. Reactions to the interview were not quite uniform. Some were grateful that he didn't completely avoid accountability. Others accused him of playing the victim, dodging, and employing ambiguous language. The internet was split once more when snippets of the interview went viral in a matter of hours. Some followers expressed their belief that producers had corrupted both sides. Others believed that Mendeecees was attempting to salvage his reputation instead of taking responsibility for his actions. However, the most outspoken group continued to support Erica, applauding her courage and cautioning others against falling for what they described as a carefully scripted performance. The tension remained high behind the scenes. According to reports, Erica watched the interview with a few pals and was observed shaking her head in shock. Some people apologized just enough to save face, not enough to change, she wrote in a later mysterious statement on her account. Everyone knew who she was alluding to, even if she didn't name the Mendeecees. She wrote a lengthy piece after that, detailing how exhausting the previous few weeks had been. She expressed gratitude to her supporters, discussed the value of the truth, and expressed her desire that no other woman would have to endure what she did in order to be taken seriously. The network was now in full damage control mode as it observed the storm from a distance. Advertisers started to quietly retreat as trust reached an all-time low. Some businesses canceled their sponsorships, while others requested that their advertisements be taken out of any show-related content. This was more than simply a scandal. It was now a liability for the company. Executives convened urgent meetings in an attempt to save the brand. Some suggested sacking all parties and beginning over. Others recommended focusing on other brands and completely scrapping the show. A reunion show, in which the actors would get together and discuss the incidents candidly, was one concept that caught on. However, nobody was certain if the cast would still consent to that. Things took yet another unexpected turn as mayhem boiled in the corporate offices. According to a senior producer's leaked email that went viral online, several sequences from previous seasons were altered to villainize some cast members and shield others. High-level executives urged to stick to specific plot lines, even if it meant distorting the facts, was alluded to in the email. Fans who had always been dubious now had proof that what they were witnessing was not at all like reality. More people spoke up as a result of the disclosure, which rekindled outrage. In their own interviews, former cast members revealed how they were threatened, pressured, and manipulated to fabricate drama. According to one former star, she was offered a bonus if she brought a fellow cast member to tears on camera. Another revealed that a love relationship that was depicted on the show was entirely fabricated by the producers in order to advance the plot. What had begun as a single dispute was now revealing the sinister side of reality TV in its entirety. There was no turning back from the public exposure of the genre's private issues. In the midst of all, Yendi was fighting to maintain her personal life. Many people accused her of encouraging toxic conduct, and she had turned into a lightning rod for criticism. She made an effort to keep running her enterprises, but even her online store's revenues declined. Because they were concerned about the association, brands that had previously worked with her were pulling away. Friends who had previously supported her were becoming quiet, and her formerly devoted followers were suddenly publicly doubting all she had said about her marriage, her family, and her morals. Tracy set up a live session on her platform in a last-ditch effort to regain control. She pledged to be truthful in her responses and not use evasive language. Tens of thousands of people joined right away when she went live. Her tone was heavy and her face appeared exhausted. She began by expressing her regret for not being the friend Erica needed, not just for remaining silent. She acknowledged that there were times when she ought to have raised her voice but chose not to. She said that her judgment had been impaired by loyalty and that she was still processing the guilt. She was also questioned about her continued support for Mendeecees. She was cautious in her response. She claimed to believe in both culpability and redemption. She merely said that things are complicated and healing takes time, without confirming or denying whether they were still together. Although it didn't dispel public skepticism, the nearly hour-long live session did help mitigate some of the criticism. Even though they hadn't forgiven her yet, they valued her candor. However, a startling development rekindled the flames just as things were starting to calm down. After working on the set, a security guard came forward with a video recording of what he saw on the night of the event. He stated in the video that he witnessed Mendeecees and Erica fighting off camera and that before crew members stepped in, Mendeecees had raised his hand in a menacing manner. He claimed that after informing his supervisor about the incident, he was instructed to keep quiet and let the producers handle it. The guard claimed that he felt bad about being silent and that watching Erica's interview encouraged him to speak up. This fresh testimony was shocking. It more nearly matched Erica's account of events and directly refuted Mendeecees' assertions. The video quickly went viral, stoking the flames. Calls to ban Mendeecees from the performance permanently came back with even more vigor. Some fans started tagging the network, asking that they dismiss anyone involved in the cover-up and provide a public apology to Erica. Legal authorities also responded to the guard's story, stating that they were initiating an investigation to ascertain whether criminal charges ought to be brought. For all parties concerned, the pressure was now intolerable. The network halted all of the cast's ongoing projects. Sponsors withdrew entirely, and a well-known streaming service that had previously expressed interest in acquiring the series has now made it clear that they will not proceed with any licensing agreements. The brand was poisonous, the fallout was finished, and Mendeecees was now more alone than ever in the middle of the storm. Those who had previously supported him were turning away. According to reports, even some of his relatives told him to be quiet and wait for things to settle down. However, Mendeecees had already suffered harm to his personal life, job, and reputation. It became evident that this was more than one controversy as the industry struggled with the fallout. It dealt with a whole culture that had been let to fester. In the background, it was impossible to put it back in the box now that the truth was out. The show's future was unclear. The participants' careers were on the line, and the public would never again experience the illusion of reality television. And just when you believed it was finished, reconsider. This is by no means the end of the story. Will his name ever be cleared by Mendeecees? Will Erica receive the justice that she believes she is due? What are your thoughts? Please share your opinions in the comments section, click the like button, and remember to subscribe for more amazing updates.